Coming to you live, it's the Auto Hub Show with Ian and Jeff. Here we go.
So what would your dealership feel like if your entire sales staff was literally on fire, your sales and service staff? They were nonstop all over social media, completely dominating your marketplace. They could do it in 30 days or less and then continue their education to do it for an entire 6 months or a year. You literally would completely take over the entire marketplace and no one would be able to compete with you. And that's what we can do for you. So when you're walking around your community, whether you're at local restaurants or you're going to the gym, if you don't want to be bothered, fine, you won't be bothered. But a lot of people will walk up to you and say, oh my God, I love your social media. Your staff is amazing. We love what you're doing in the community. We want to come buy a car from you. We want to get an oil change at your dealership. Your community is absolutely going to love you. And it doesn't matter what platform you're on. You could be on TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all social media platforms. You will literally be all over the place. I've traveled all over North America. I've trained Toyota. I've trained Nissan. I've been to driving sales. I've been to Women in Auto. I get hired as a speaker for conferences at universities all over the country. And I can help change the trajectory of your dealership right now. If you click on the link, you can sign up for our webinar. It's live with me and you'll learn the 7 strategies that you need at your dealership in order to see that success.
Hi, everyone. This is Paul Brobson, the CEO over at Trusted Sale. And if you don't know Larry Feldman at Career Changers, boy, are you missing out. Now, what are you missing, you might ask? Well, for starters, you're missing the world's best trainer. But seriously, what makes Larry a great trainer is how engaged he keeps his audience. I was at a store recently while Larry was conducting training. And let me tell you, nobody wanted to leave that room. I mean, even when they needed a bio break, they wanted to stick around and hear what Larry had to say. The great late Jim Valvano, who said, to me, there are 3 things everyone should try to do every day. Number 1 is laugh. Number 2 is think. Spend some time in thought every day. And number 3, you should have your emotions move you to tears. If you laugh, think, and cry, that's a heck of a day. Well, I can tell you, Larry's going to make you laugh. He's going to make you think. And yeah, every once in a while, he's going to make you shed a tear or two. But one thing I can say, it's a heck of a day when Larry comes to visit. But wait, there's more. There is? Yeah. Not only is Larry a great trainer, but he's also one hell of a recruiter. So if you need people in your dealership, I mean anyone, you need technicians, salespeople, managers, BDC agents, whatever you need, Larry can get you staffed right with the right people and do it fast.
Ways to improve. Every month we want to improve better on what we did the month before, maybe the year before. It's about how fast we can get the cars done with quality work to get it to the front line, because that's where we make our money. And the bottom line is the longer it takes, the more money you spend. We want to get it down as low as possible. Right now, like I said, we're in a great stage. We're at 4.5 days. In recon, we want to know how quickly we can get the cars out of the recon process and to their front line. The average days in recon, and then the time to line are the most important thing to get to. I'm Mike Burrell. I'm Service Director at JM Lexus.
This is Ian.
And this is Jeff.
And we're here at the Used Car Week in Scottsdale with Orbee.
I know. You know, it's Orbee. It's Orbee. It's Orbee. Yeah, I know. But yeah.
Talk a little bit about Orbee.
Orbee, yes. So,
first of all, introduce yourself, please.
My name is Chris Vasquez. I'm the Director of Marketing at Orbee. We're customer experience software. And so what that means is, we have middleware technology. And it basically helps a dealer collect and centralize all of their customer data. And the tricky thing about automotive is that, you know, there's so many vendor tools that are on a dealership's website, and typically a traditional analytics isn't installed on those tools. So you lose sight into what the shopper's doing in the digital retailing tool, in the service scheduler, in the trade-in form. they're doing a lot of things and giving signals about where they are in the journey. And then when they drop off, you're not really sure why, but we illuminate the why. So we give that data to the dealer, and then we can also help them craft campaigns to get more credit apps. Like, so if someone dropped out of a credit application, we can send an email to that person saying, hey, come back, finish your credit application form. We also run ads for dealers that target those people based on what they do, show messages on site. We're very flexible and just want to make it easy for the dealer to help their shopper get further down the buying funnel. So I talked for a lot there for a minute. Is there?
Well, that's okay. Well, you mentioned the term middleware.
Yes.
Probably the first time I've ever heard the term middleware.
Okay.
Meaning, I would assume you're just in the middle, but
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. Middleware is actually coined in like the 60s, and it was because of IBM. And so the early computer days, a lot of software was being built and it wasn't talking to each other. And so we felt like, okay, that really represents what we're doing. You have all these companies that are building great software for dealerships. Sometimes the software even comes from the dealership that just builds it out like, hey, we figured out how to solve this problem. But the problem is that when you go to install that and try to put that into the workflow of everything else, they don't communicate. I think that is shifting in the industry where more vendors are developing their own APIs and making it easy to integrate and pull data and share data. But we're sort of that plumbing that lets the dealer's data, because at the end of the day, it's the dealership's data, but right now it's kind of being stored in all these different places. We're just helping them get it back to their data, their database.
So connecting the data, making it useful, is that pretty much what you're talking about?
Yeah. Connecting the data to, build reports on attribution, where people are dropping off. So reporting is one thing, marketing is another thing, advertising, how you're building audiences. We also can give some data to the BDC teams, so or the sales team. For example, we know when someone visits the website and then disappears for 30 days or so, and then when they come back, as soon as they come back, we alert the BDC and say, hey, this shopper who was interested before dropped off for some time, they're back now. Here's their shopper profile, so you can see all of their browsing history. So when you call them, you have a little context into what they're interested in. So, and that's just one example of, there's a lot of automation that we can do, but there's still some things we can help a dealership with providing data so they can train their people on how to use it for their customers.
So in terms of getting started with the system, I mean, what does that look like? And what would a dealer expect, like a smaller used dealer or even a larger dealer expect that to look like? Like how long would it take to get set up, and what's a range in terms of time frame to get that done?
I think to be like completely set up, it could take 3 months, and that just depends on what the dealership's stack is, right? Like what are all the tools they're using? Some of our partners that we integrate with, it's a little bit easier to get installed than other ones. But basically how we start is first we get on your website and all of your websites. So if you're a group and you have multiple websites, we want to get that script on there immediately, starting to assign IDs to visitors coming to your site, and then just building out all of that activity. Because then later, once the email marketing settings are set up so that the emails send from your domain, once you give us access to your advertising accounts, you're not starting from zero. All that data has been building, and now we can activate it. So a couple months, depending on what they use right now.
And what do you do to ensure dealer privacy?
So we are, when's this coming out?
Probably next week after I edit it.
Next week. Okay. I think we'll be good too now. So we're actually ISO 27001 certified. So it's just, when you get that certification, you're just proving that like you're going through the process to safeguard and protect the customer's data, our customer's data, meaning their customer's data. It's kind of tricky, but and then we're about to get SOC 2 compliant as well. So our tech team has been, I get an email from them every now and then about like, we got to do things this way, training with an employee manual. So we went through the process, and like it's pretty cool to say like we have these certifications now.
I mean, it sounds like just sort of a moot point to bring up, data privacy.
Yeah.
But it isn't, because it's still a big deal. And I don't know, 10 times a week I see posts or ads, protect your privacy, your data, it's your data, own your data, because that, I don't care what you got, you can own land, but that data is worth way more than your land.
It is. Well, we're starting to see dealers recognize that now, because now that they're, companies like us are showing them, okay, this is how much data you actually have. Here's what you can do with it. There's the light bulbs are going off, and then you hear things like FTC coming after dealers for like how they're using that customer data. So they're like, wow, we're kind of doing that. So we got to really be careful about how we utilize it. So I think the whole industry is sort of trending that way, where it's like, wow, we actually really have a lot of data, and we need to be careful about how we use it. So
Well, exactly.
Yeah, and based on the state you're in or the province if you're in Canada, I mean, the laws are different and changing. And we're seeing stuff now with telematics and a bunch of other things. And it was interesting, we were talking about TikTok with the used car dealer here earlier.
Okay.
Essentially, what you're doing with that information is becoming more and more important to be concerned with, too, that make sure you're compliant.
Right. And I think it's a lot to understand, especially if you're a group and you're across several states. So you really want to make sure you're partnering with people that are paying attention to these laws. And I think at the end of the day, it's the partnerships. It's making sure you're working with people you can trust that are staying up to date with everything. It takes a village, basically.
Well, perfect. Thank you very much for taking the time. I have to make a comment. So when we got here on, oh my God, what is this?
Yes.
Let me see. Today's Tuesday. Yesterday's Monday. So I don't know. I got here on Sunday. But yesterday morning, we're walking around. There's almost nothing here.
Yeah.
The Orbee team is set up. This fine young lady here who's hiding from the camera. You guys are here. You're basically set up, and you're waiting for the early people to come in.
Oh la la. What?
Thanks for joining us. It was a great show, and follow us anywhere you would like on your favorite podcast, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and of course on our YouTube, or subscribe to our own channel.